Question number 10, Darroch Ball.
Thank you, sir. To the Minister of Local Governments, does he stand by all his statements?
The Honourable Pesatara Sam Lotu-Iiga.
Yes, in the context in which they were made.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, Darroch Ball.
Does he stand by his statement to the Local Government Commission in March this year that, quote, what you're going to get is models that are appropriate for the individual regions. We're not going to impose this from Wellington. There's no one-size-fits-all, end quote.
The Honourable Pesatara Sam Lotu-Iiga.
Yes, I do.
Supplementary.
Supplementary question, Darroch Ball.
If that's the case, will he now amend the Local Government Act 2002 to reflect the race-based appointments incorporated into the Taranaki iwi Claims Settlement Bill, which will force the Taranaki Regional Council to include 6 unelected iwi representatives?
The Honourable Pesatara Sam Lotu-Iiga.
Well, Mr Speaker, I haven't made any announcements on that bill. I'm neither responsible for that bill.
Supplementary question, Darroch Ball.
Would he agree that it is fair and democratic to force a council to include 6 members based on race of a council that were democratically elected and hold the same status and remuneration and expenses? If so, why?
The Honourable Pesatara
Well, that's a
Sam Lotu-Iiga.
hypothetical question, sir. That's a hypothetical question I don't have to answer.
Point of order, sir.
Point of order. Order.
This is hardly a hypothetical
Order.
question.
Order. I can't hear the point of order.
This is hardly a hypothetical question, sir. I can answer it again if the Minister wants to.
Order. No, the Minister's interpreted it as a hypothetical question. It was a difficult question. Sit. Members have a seat. It was a difficult question for me to write down because it was a fairly lengthy question, but that's the answer the Minister's given, and when I consider the generality of the primary question, we will move forward. Supplementary question, Darroch Ball.
Why is the government ignoring a referendum in the New Plymouth area last May where 83% opposed race-based appointments to local government by now ramming 6 non-elected appointments down Taranakians' throats?
That's right. The Honourable Pesatara Sam Lotu-Iiga.
Well, no, sir, that we're not ignoring that referendum held last year. That's not true. No, we're not.
Question, order. Question number 11.